All right. It's the sound of the first Malarkey hour of the new year coming right at you. This is your host, Matt, and sitting across the table, drinking his hot tea, it's my co-host, John. How's it going, sir?
What's up?
All right, sir. Let's get this first podcast of the new year started. We are in 2020 officially, John. You excited? New year, new opportunities.
Can hear it in my voice.
Yeah. So, I thought first podcast of the year, we look back a little instead of looking forward, and we go back and for this first podcast of the year, since it is the start of a new decade, let's look back to the previous decade and see what was our favorite movies of the decade.
How did you do yours?
What do you mean?
I'm going by what I rewatch a lot, or what I can see myself rewatching.
A lot. That is one of the things, right? That's which movies do I rewatch a lot, and that's probably the movies that I enjoy the most, and probably the movies I think are really great. Movies I think are really great, I tend to rewatch a lot. So,
or movies I could see myself rewatching a lot. I don't know. It's something like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mentioned to you earlier this weekend through text. I think this decade was a great decade for movies.
it was hard, to make this list.
So last week we talked about our favorite movies of 2019. So I don't know if any of those movies made it to your list, but maybe they did, maybe they didn't. So we had a little bit of practice last week, so that was the warm-up round. This is the big one. This is the decade, John. So you want to start first, or you want me to start first?
I will. I don't know. I guess
first. Yeah, you start first.
You always make me start first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cheat on my number 10.
Okay, so John's number 10. Again, don't have any sound effects, John. Sorry.
Dun dun dun. John Wick, all of them. That's my number 10.
So John's number 10 is the John Wick franchise, 1 through 3. You know what? I don't think that's that much of a cheat. They all came out in the last decade.
And you know what? They all take place in a few weeks.
Yeah, they do.
It's the same story still going on. It's only been a few weeks.
Yeah.
So
it's just a very long movie. So what made you put this as your number 10?
Because I watch them over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're pretty good. Yeah.
I don't think there was a better. I almost. I don't know if you have it on there. I almost wanted to throw in the last Mission Impossible Fallout, but I had to just bundle these three together, and there's gonna be a fourth, and they just keep getting better and better. We talked about.
Well, I guess what makes it a little easier with John Wick is that the three were of this decade. As supposed to, it's crazy. Mission Impossible started in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's a 23-year-old, 24, going on 24 years in the franchise. Is
Emilio Estevez still doing them?
He's still doing them. Yeah.
Yeah. Who made the first one? De Palma.
Brian De Palma. Yeah. Brian De Palma made the first one. The second one was John Woo. And then the third one was J.J. Abrams.
I forget they have big directors.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but I mean, it's just if you have ADD, that's what this movie's are for.
John Wick. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, the plot is.
Yeah, it's nonstop action. Body counts are crazy. It's I don't know what more you want from an action movie. It's fucking fun.
No, I had number 3 in my top 5 of 2019. So no, I completely agree with you. It's a great franchise.
I think I left it out, but if when you reflect back on shit that I'm gonna rewatch, I've rewatched all of them, especially the first one. I've probably seen it 7 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm just I have to include it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do for 10. I don't even know. Do they have the same director? I'm not as much up on that as you.
I can't remember.
Either way, they're fucking good.
I think it started off with their stunt coordinators. These guys who started directing them.
Because I mean, is there besides the Mission Impossible that's pushing it? Nothing else is pushing it like this.
No, not as a franchise. No.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see one-offs, but
it's like this. It's ridiculous. It's the body count is ridiculous. I remember Googling the John Wick body count. So I don't know what it was, but it's funny.
Yeah.
People put a lot of work into like
Counting all
every shoulder shot, the chest shot. They had like his accuracy, and it's just like a body count at the end of each one.
Well, what did they determine? What if some of these guys are just down for a little bit?
It's a flawed system.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's just not exact science. It's
No.
like, what if that guy made it through? It's like he should be traumatized for the rest of his life.
Yeah. So that is my number 10.
It's a great number 10, John. I'm in total agreement. It's one of the best franchises of the decade. My number 10, John, is a movie by a master director, and that movie is Magic Mike, directed by Steven Soderbergh. Came out in 2012, and I think it's Steven Soderbergh's best movie of the decade. And this man has made a lot of movies. If you look at all the movies he made this decade, he made a lot of movies. Contagion in 2011, Haywire in 2012, Side Effects in 2013. And then he took a break. He quote-unquote retired from movies.
I like Side Effects.
Yeah, that Side Effects was really good.
Contagion makes me want to wash my hands.
He took like a 4-year break, and then he unretired. Came back with Logan Lucky, Unsane, High Flying Bird, and then he has his most recent movie, The Laundromat, which the last two are Netflix movies.
Not heard of Laundromat.
It's about the Panama Papers. But
okay.
No, I mean, what else can you say? This is a master director. Magic Mike, it's not a movie that if you look at it on paper should work. It's about a group of male strippers in Florida, led by Shannon Tatum. Actually led by Matthew McConaughey's weird, enigmatic character. But it is a funny movie, and it works.
It's a good movie.
It is.
It's a good movie. It makes me think I should go to the gym. But I mean, there's an actual story. It's not just like. No,
it's you know what? It's a subject that you can. It could be like a farce. Like it's not to be taken seriously, and but it's the drama works in it. I don't think he's being dismissive of the story, even though it's a ridiculous storyline, right? But
pretty much. But
he does treat it with some reverence, because you have to. Like at the end of the day, you're still making a movie, so it's even though you're making a ridiculous movie, there's gotta be some reverence, otherwise it won't work. And it's a balancing act, because it's a thin line between like you're taking it too seriously, but it's just what Soderbergh's a master of.
I remember going to the movies and there's just like a line of like ladies, women, and just like I was like, interesting. And then
demographic.
Yeah.
Of that movie.
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it later. I think you told me it was good.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it later. I was like, there's an actual story here, and I like it. And it
has probably one of the best lines of the decade. I'm gonna play it. I won't do it justice.
Can you love and touch this? Well, that too, the law says that you cannot touch. But I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house tonight. And I don't see a cop in sight. All right?
And that is Oscar winner Matthew McConaughey.
I already knew you were gonna play that when you said that.
Delivering one of the funniest lines in the last 10 years.
Didn't Louis C.K. do a whole joke on it?
Yeah. It's a great scene. And, he's great. It's probably one of his better performances, even though he won the Oscar for that AIDS. I don't want to call it AIDS movie, but essentially he was
It's Dallas
Buyers
Club.
You know what? I don't want to just trash him, but it wasn't that great. Like I think this is a better performance by him, or at least I enjoyed it more than.
Yeah, Channing Tatum was good in it too. Mm-hmm. Like he's actually a good actor.
He's good when he's like being funny. Like he's a pretty good comedic actor.
Yeah. It's good. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So that's my number 10, John. Okay, so moving on, we have your number 9. What is your number 9 movie of the 2010s, John?
My number 9 is Whiplash.
Whiplash. Great movie.
Yeah. Tell me who directed it. I don't know who directed it.
I forget his name. I'll look it up right now.
I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know. I saw it.
I was the guy who directed La La Land, right? Damien Chazelle. I always forget his name.
I did see it. I did see it in theaters, and I don't know. I've probably seen it like 7 times at least.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those movies where you just like, I don't know. It never gets old. Maybe the music helps,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just like, I think that was a breakout role for what's his name? I'm not gonna know a lot of what's the main actor, not the the old guy, not the State Farm guy.
Are you talking about what's his name? Yeah, I'm blanking on names right now too.
Yeah.
I'll look it up right now. You can talk.
Either way, it's like, dude, like I don't know, like
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller. What makes me laugh, which he was also great, and it's not a movie I could put in my top 10, but The Spectacular Now. Did you ever see it?
No, I never saw that one.
Very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a nice. I'm not saying his career's over. He's still making movies, but
Yeah,
he had a nice little chunk of a. He was just making good movies.
Yeah, like the early part of the decade. Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, it's like it's intense.
Yeah, it is an intense movie.
And I was never in band, maybe, but I'm just saying, like I don't hear like he's like, what are you Are you rushing? Are you dragging? What is that scene? I'm like, I don't hear the difference.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, holy shit, this guy's mean.
But he makes you believe that there's something he isn't doing like perfectly.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And it has a lot. It's kind of I don't want to be a hippie, but it is like a deep movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is like, it's almost like, and I don't want to ruin the ending, but the end, it's almost like it's not a happy ending,
No.
but there is something there where it's like,
Well, it speaks to the consequences, not the consequences, but what you have to put yourself to master something that's hard, right?
Yeah.
If you want to master, in this case, being a great drummer, this is the sacrifices you're gonna have to put yourself through, and it's not always really nice. But
he's putting himself through physical abuse too. It's
physical, emotional. Yeah, I mean it's it's not a happy world, but for whatever reason, this brings him happiness. Like he needs to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had mean teachers, but not that.
You never had a guy like J.K. Simmons like yell at you.
No, and like I said, it is basically what you said. It's like you're striving for like
perfection.
Perfection. It's like, but you're like sacrificing so much to get it.
And what's the price to pay, right? Like how far are you going to take it?
Right. 'Cause, I mean, yeah, and there's some good lines in that movie. I don't know if I know them like verbatim, but it's just like, ooh. It's like, how bad do you want something? It's pretty much just like, how much shit are you willing to put up with? And I don't know. It's like crossing that line between like basically sanity and insanity, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, this is too much.
Yeah.
But sometimes I like those movies. Kind of gives you a little bit of like, you're a little angst the whole time. And I like movies that do that to me. Where they kind of do just like get in my head.
It's not so much that you don't know what's going to happen next. It's just you're almost a little fearful of what's going to happen to this character next. Because it's not going to be anything good.
Especially when they make you like the character.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a likable guy. Like he's there's nothing really.
They make you like the character and you're like, ooh, how is this going to end?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that is my number 9.
Number 9. It's a great choice. Well, John, my number 9 movie of the 2010s is a little film called The Master, written, directed, and co-produced by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams. Little story about a man, the name of Freddie Quell, played by Joaquin Phoenix, who joins a cult. Even though the movie ever they do call it a cult, right? One of the characters.
They never say what it's about.
Yeah. One of the funniest movies.
Let me ask you a question while we're doing this, because it's not like we pre-rehearsed this shit.
No.
If I have a movie that you have, or if I almost have a movie that you have, do you want me to just stay quiet?
Nah, you can talk about it. Like we've done it before, where like if it's something further up on the list.
Yeah,
it's up to you.
You just keep going with it. Go ahead.
It's an ambitious movie.
Can we just say it? It's about Scientology. It is.
It is and it isn't, right? That's what's so genius about it.
Yeah.
You can interpret it as this is
I don't know. You
Paul Thomas Anderson's interpretation of Scientology, and it isn't. You heard that story, right? He screened it for Tom Cruise because
You told me that.
and Tom Cruise, there are some parts he didn't really like, maybe because it hit too close to home. But that was interesting that he screened it for him first.
Right.
Not first, but early on.
Right.
Before it came out.
It's like, do you like it? Because I don't care.
Well, see, he has enough respect for Tom Cruise. He worked with him in Magnolia, so he has enough respect. Like, hey,
It's a great movie.
You probably heard some stories about what this movie's about. Let me show you. Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah, I forgot they worked together.
yeah. It definitely does not paint a very nice picture of those type of organizations.
This is oof, go ahead. I don't know.
I mean, this movie is about the relationship between these two men. I mean, that's really what the movie is about. I mean, it's hard to say whose movies this is. Is it Joaquin Phoenix movie? Is it Philip? I mean, they're both great in it.
No, they both are very,
Yeah.
very, very good.
And two different ways. Like, I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is like this wild Mustang that can't be tamed, and Philip Seymour Hoffman's is, just as intense as him, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And even Amy Adams is great. Like, Amy Adams is intense in a different way too in this movie, where she's like, the title, the master. Who is really the master in this movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get the sense like.
I mean, I guess, literal sense, it's probably, what's his name? L. Ron Hubbard. I'm going to call him L. Ron Hubbard. But it's, Philip Seymour Hoffman. This was close to his last movie, right? It was not, but it was very close.
Yeah.
I think he had like one more after this, and that was it.
I can't remember what his last movie was, but yeah.
Yeah, it was very close to right before he died, right?
I forgot what year he died, but
Yeah, because there was all these conspiracy theorists saying that the Scientologists killed him.
yeah.
Nah, but it's no
heroin killed him.
this right? No, it
Okay.
did. The this movie barely. I had it originally, and I had to cut it. I had to, just because there's too many really good movies, and it's a movie I've seen a bunch of times too.
Mm-hmm.
And the performances are ridiculously good. Like, it's probably, yeah, I know everybody's, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker performance right now is
Mm-hmm.
probably a lock for best actor.
Mm-hmm.
But this is
So this performance
is
up there.
good.
Yeah,
This
performance
is
up
really, like, he's very good at playing a crazy person.
there. Yeah. It's crazy. He didn't win the Oscar for this, but like.
Right. I don't think it won anything, really.
Mhm.
But it was, well, it's because they're all Scientologists voting. I don't know.
No,
I
no,
just,
Like I said, it was ambitious. It actually was the first major fiction feature to be shot on and released on 65 millimeter or 70 millimeter film since Hamlet in 1996. And that's
yeah.
have you heard any? Did you see it in theaters?
I did not.
It looks gorgeous in theaters because it's blown up and it's all. It's like there's no
But
big visuals in the movie.
That's a Paul Thomas Anderson thing.
What?
Just I think I've told that to you. It's like everything looks like a painting.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at
Especially with this. I mean, shooting it in that big of a film stock, it's
And it's
crazy
and it's
how nice it looked.
period piece with, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, it has that same, like, visually to me, it's kind of like Phantom Thread, which
Yeah.
we did see in theaters. I saw
Yeah.
in theaters, right?
Yeah.
And no, I'm just like, this guy definitely knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I love Paul Thomas Anderson.
He's you know what, and I heard him say it later on in an interview, but I thought when I saw it, this is a hilarious movie, and I think even Paul Thomas Anderson said he wrote it to be funny. It's absurd in some parts, like it's crazy.
But it's like the lines are just like, I don't know if it would be funny without those two though.
Because they sell the line, so they're not trying to be funny. Like, they're serious, but it's so hilarious. And on purpose.
I don't know why. It's just like I laugh every time Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, "You're a scoundrel." Yeah. I don't know why that's funny.
It's just like, the way he says scoundrel.
It's just like Phantom Thread is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot of people. I think if you don't know, if I didn't know it was a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, I probably wouldn't have gone to see it because it looks pretentious.
Yeah,
It-
you can
it
say
does.
that. Yeah.
It looks a little slow and pretentious, and I'm like, dude, this movie's hilarious.
Yeah. No,
Which is like, yeah, I said, I think I saw that with you, right? Phantom Thread.
yeah.
And I was like, I don't know why we're the only ones laughing.
So that means I think everybody takes it too seriously, and yeah. I don't think movies. I don't think you should ever take a movie too seriously. You know, at the end of the day, it's just a movie.
Right.
Even if it's about a serious subject matter, it's just a movie. But no, Paul Thomas is one of my favorite directors. Still working today, so.
Yeah, no, he's everything. There's one movie I totally I don't love, but everything else is like, he's right up there, top of his game.
So that's my number 9. Moving on to your number 8, John. What is your number 8 movie of this past decade?
My number 8 is The Social Network.
The Social Network by David Fincher.
Yeah.
Started off this decade, 2010.
Yeah, at first I was like, is that even? Yeah. No, I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's written by one of your favorite writers.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it is a collaboration with Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin.
Who writes, and you know why his dialogue works so well? It's because they're a bunch of weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of tech weirdos. So, like, Jesse Eisenberg's, fast stuff. And this is, like, one of the only movies where I was like, I don't know why. I pulled up the script.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the movie, and I was trying to follow the movie with the script.
They speak it so quickly.
And I'm like, yeah. And you can see about they speak it. It moves way faster.
Oh, you heard the story behind that, right? I think Aaron Sorkin finished the script, and they looked at it, and they're like, "There's no way you're gonna film this script. It's too long." I don't know if it was David Fincher or even Aaron Sorkin's like, "No, you're reading it incorrectly. It's gonna be once you hear how fast these people are gonna talk. This is not a long script." Because, people, normally you look at a script as a page a minute, right? Every page is a minute
That's
of film.
the rule of thumb, right?
Yeah. But because Aaron Sorkin's characters talk so much, so quickly, his scripts you can't really do that with because they're going to go through these lines like it's nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, his scripts are thick, but they're not overly long movies because his characters just talk over each other.
Right. Now, it's very Sorkin dialogue.
Yeah.
But it seems to work in this movie better than a lot. It works in this movie so good because I imagine that's how these people talk. And you bring in this weird tech world, and I'm like, yeah, that's not really how people talk. I go, but maybe it is, like, especially with Eisenberg. I'm like, yeah, Zuckerberg he's a weirdo. He probably does talk quick and weird, and I don't know. You can tell Fincher's dialogue is very specific.
Like his movies that he directs?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's
it's the way he directs.
I'm sorry.
Sorkin.
Sorkin's dialogue
Okay.
is very specific. I don't know why I said Fincher.
Yeah.
Now, Fincher's a great director. But I think, because we had Sorkin, and I'm not bashing him, I like Molly's Game a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I could tell, it was a little too Sorkin-y for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this movie works so well because Fincher's able to filter a lot. Like, Fincher brought his exactness
well, you
to
can
it.
see the script and see, like, wow, they changed a lot.
Yeah, like he brought his exactness to it. Fincher is a very exact director. Like, he knows exactly what he needs, what he wants, and he's gonna do as many takes as he needs to get whatever he envisioning. Right.
Right.
So I think that's what helps. He's able to look at something that Sorkin wrote and it's like, okay, this is gonna work. This is not gonna work, and I know why because he envisions this films in his head very clearly. He can demonstrate, hey, I want it exactly this way. And it's gonna work.
Right.
So you need a director like that. I think that's the reason it's worked so well. These two masters at their own craft, their own individual craft. Why it works so well to bring them together. Sorkin needed that type of director to take his script and.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people say it's not accurate. I mean,
Doesn't
for something
matter.
like that. No, I don't care
Doesn't
with
matter.
a movie like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a movie I don't really have issues with it at all. And it's crazy that was 2010. You said, right?
Yeah.
And then we're in 2020, and
it still hasn't aged.
And I'm like, well, we're still using Facebook.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
it hasn't aged.
What if they got
all?
It's not like they got all ambitious and like with a MySpace movie, like we're like doing it now. Like,
yeah. But it's not really a Facebook. It's not really the Facebook movie. That's the thing too.
No.
I mean, it's about Facebook.
It's no. I'm just saying the fact that it's still that relevant.
Yeah.
Is pretty insane.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's dark, but it's good.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
It's like
it's a great movie.
It's really good. I don't know. I can watch. It's another movie I've probably seen 10 times, 12 times.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, well, I guess I'm watching this now.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. I saw it in theaters. Loved it. I loved the trailer too. It has one of the best trailers of all time.
I remember the trailer, and
it's one of the best trailers of all time.
It's a great trailer, and the movie did live up to it.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird to. Have you ever just gone and watched movie trailers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the top movie trailer and just
and usually the movie doesn't live up to the trailer.
Nah.
But this one did, and I do remember I think I watched I probably watched the trailer a dozen times.
Yeah. No, it was good.
It is a good.
No, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so it's up there. What you got?
All right, John. So it's Social Network at number 8 for John. My number 8, John, of this decade is a movie. We just talked about him. A movie called Phantom Thread by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert, he's the only director I have twice in my list. So, like I mentioned earlier, he is one of my favorite directors currently working, and I think this was his decade. Like, he doesn't work a lot, so it's one of those, like, this decade was a high input decade for him.
It's funny, we laugh about him. Like, does he make any, like, do his movies make any money?
It doesn't seem like they do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's
able to make these. I mean, again, this is another. It's funny because when we went to go see this in theaters, I'm not a big period film person. Like, I'm not like, ooh, it's another period film, I want to go watch it.
Yeah.
And this movie, like, because it was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, I'm like, I'm in. Like, it's a period film, I'm in. Like,
yeah,
I know he's
I would not have seen it if he wasn't directing it.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's fucking funny.
It's funny. It's romantic. It's a great drama. I mean, it's
again visually fucking awesome.
Great visuals. You're right, and yeah, it's crazy how talented this guy is. He can write, direct. He can. I think he does his own like he sometimes does his own photography, like on his films. Like, it's crazy how talented this guy is.
No, because I mean, he doesn't direct anything that he doesn't write, right?
Yeah.
So
he hasn't up to this point, yeah.
As far as writer-directors go, I mean, he's right up there with Tarantino.
Yeah, and
very, very underappreciated.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of like Hollywood.
Yeah. It's and this movie wasn't very like it didn't get a bunch of awards. It came and went.
I called it. It got the costume award at the Oscars.
Yeah,
and I was like, well,
you sort of had to.
It's a movie about the guy that makes dresses.
Yeah.
I was like,
I guess the only big thing of note was this is up to this point Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie. He said he's gonna retire after this movie, and he hasn't made a movie yet since.
His name Woodcock, right?
Yeah, Woodcock.
It's absurd. Like, the movie is fucking absurd. Like,
it's very absurd.
And it is one of those movies where a trailer can be misleading.
Yes. The trailer does not give away how funny it is.
No, I think it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I've probably seen it 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I mean, what else can you say? It's, not to get too deep into it, but it is about a guy who's a genius and what it is to be around this guy who's a genius. Even worse, not just be around him, but be in love with him, right? Which is what the Ciro character has to go through. No, Ciro's his sister. What's the...
I don't know.
What's the woman?
I
forgot her name, but the actress. I mean, not the actress, but the
character name.
The character name. But yeah, like she's...
Is she in anything else? Like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying she's not a big star.
Leslie Manville.
that's her name. Yeah.
She's been in other films, but yeah, she
I'm
isn't
just
like a
saying,
big.
she's not somebody you're like, are you Leslie Manville? Like she could probably go to like CVS without getting like, it's not like Tom Hanks.
Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. Leslie Manuel was the sister.
Oh, is that the sister?
Yeah.
Okay, she's in more movies though.
Vicky Krieps is the.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
The love interest. Yeah.
And like, I remember, like just watching it and being like, dude, like, it probably. I've never acted in anything outside of like stupid school plays when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's probably intimidating to just like go like head to head with Daniel Day-Lewis, and she's right there.
She's right there. Oh, both of them are.
Yeah, but
like,
I'm just
Yeah, they both are great.
Yeah, but you expect that from him.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying.
No, I'm talking about like both actresses.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they have to go toe to toe with Daniel Day-Lewis. And
I have seen the sister in other stuff though.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's been around. I'm not saying that the other one hasn't, but she is like right there, like Daniel Day-Lewis yelling at you. I would probably freak out and run away.
Yeah, even though he's acting.
Yes.
Yeah, but you think like he's really yelling at me because that's how good of an actor he is.
I think what's that comic? The one from what's his name? He always with the ridiculous. He's got the teeth.
Got the teeth.
Yeah, when he's telling the story, he was in he was supposed to be in Magnolia, and he got that little part in There Will Be Blood.
Oh, Paul F. Tompkins.
Right. Yeah. That's a great. It's like a one-man show. Remember, we saw it. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious. Where he's talking about going just that one scene he has where you can't even tell it's him.
Yeah, There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. Or There Will Be Blood, which is another great movie. It's probably his most profitable movie.
Yeah, There Will Be Blood was really profitable.
Yeah.
That's the only one that actually made money. Yeah.
And he's just saying like, oh, you think he's intense? He's like, well, he's the most intense. He's just saying like he just couldn't handle like just yelling at his face, just like, freaking out a little bit. I'm like, dude, like even I'd be like, oh, holy shit. Like,
did I piss off Daniel?
Yeah, I was like, I don't like getting yelled at. I really don't like getting yelled at by this guy.
Funny story. I was listening to a podcast recently. Adam Sandler's a good friend of his, and he calls him Danny. And the host like, you call him Danny? He goes, oh yeah, I get to call him Danny. That's just one of the things. Like sometimes he goes, sometimes I forget. I was like, oh yeah, I get to call Daniel Day-Lewis Danny. I just call him Danny, and he's okay with it. It's like it's such a weird.
You get the feeling that Adam Sandler could call you whatever he wants.
Because he's one of those So, but yeah, it's such a great movie.
It's very rewatchable to me.
It's for me. I mean, he hasn't made a lot of films, but it's top 3 for me for top Paul Thomas Anderson movies.
Right.
The only other films I would put ahead of is like Pulp Fiction and There Will Be Blood. But
it's not Paul Thomas.
I mean, sorry, Boogie Nights. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, love Boogie Nights.
Sorry, say Pulp Fiction.
And the thing,
he wrote Pulp Fiction, didn't he? He was the third writer.
Was he?
No, just joking.
Oh, I was like,
I don't know why I was thinking Pulp Fiction, but no, Boogie Nights.
Like you have me thinking like,
no, but Boogie Nights.
Love Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, and
that was basically his breakthrough movie.
Yeah, and There Will Be Blood. That's the only 2 movies I would put ahead of this one. I think that's how great this movie is. It's he is he's right. He might be, and I think we're probably gonna agree on this. He might be my favorite writer director. Yeah, right now, working right now.
Yeah,
yes.
It's just.
But you know what it is, because he makes less films. I think I anticipate his films more than anybody else. He doesn't do a lot. He only did 3 films this decade, and there was a lot of work for him.
You can identify some stuff in his period pieces where like, oh, these shots look similar. Mm-hmm. But it's not
they're
like
different movies.
They're so different.
Yeah,
where it's like the same guy who made Boogie Nights made There Will Be Blood.
And
like, and you're like, okay, but he was like same writer, same director. It's like, it's like you went from 1970s porn to the oil guy and the
It helps he takes like 7 years off between every movie. It seems.
Yeah. No, it's I love it. I mean, I love basically everything he makes. Even the one movie that I have a little issue with, I don't dislike it. It's not up there with the others. And you could say the same thing with Tarantino. It's like, it's like I don't want to get off track here, but we're not going to go. That doesn't mean I love every Tarantino movie. love most of them, but once in a while I'm like, it was good.
All right, John. So that's my number 8 film of the decade, Phantom Thread by Paul Thomas Anderson. Moving on to your number 7 movie of the decade.
All right, my number 7 was a little, basically a little indie film that they made called Inception.
Inception.
Yes, I do.
By Christopher, written and directed by Christopher Nolan, John.
Right. And I think there's something to be said about Nolan.
There's something to his. You forget he writes a lot of his movies.
Right.
It's crazy, right? This
him and his brother, right?
No, this one it was just him.
But I mean, you see his brother's name.
Sometimes
up there,
it was mostly the Batman films.
Okay.
But he most of these films are from his. He's writing these films.
And he's another one where, I mean, yes, he has a style as far as like, oh, the shots look cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea how you do any of that shit.
And the thing is, he's a guy who doesn't. He tries to avoid CGI as much as he can. So a lot of the stuff is practical effects. That's what's crazy about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that other than, cool stuff with the Dark Knight, which, I mean, in my opinion, best superhero trilogy ever so far that I've watched was I'm sorry, I'll go back to Batman. Was it Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises?
Right.
And I think the third one was this decade.
The third one was this decade, yeah.
Right.
I think 2011.
Yeah, and I left it off, but it wasn't bad. It was very good. I'm saying good nights to wrap up, but go back to Inception. It's just like visually, what the fuck? It was like kind of like when you first saw The Matrix.
Yeah.
I remember going to see The Matrix,
Yeah.
and that's something I saw at the movies, and I was like, oh shit, like this is so cool. Just like the dodging with the bullets and the slow-mo and the 360.
You know what? You're right. He has the ability to show you something that you're like, oh, why didn't it's one of those like obvious things, but it isn't obvious. You're like, oh, why have we not seen this before? And then it just becomes part of I want to say the lexicon because that's not the right word, but sort of like we're gonna see this and people are gonna copy this from now on because it's so obvious. Why have we not seen this visual before?
Right, and it's been copied and spoofed, like starting with The Matrix, and then Nolan's doing this thing where it's like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know anything about like photography, film. I don't know anything about the actual process. So even I'm just like, what the fuck? Like that shot looks so cool, and that's like a movie nerd thing, but not really. I go even as a casual moviegoer, I think he would be like, what the fuck is going on?
That's his movies makes like he's one of the few directors who could still do an original film and it's gonna make a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
And it isn't a Marvel film.
Maybe,
it isn't.
Maybe some of it did come from The Matrix. Everybody does steal a little bit from each other.
The Matrix
you build on what's been done before.
Yeah, of course. I mean, The Matrix took from previous films as well, but yeah, I mean, it was a groundbreaking film.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was like those 360 shots in The Matrix and stuff like that. But this, I'm like, and I like the concept. It's about dreams.
Yeah. It's a cool story.
No, it's a very cool story, and it's
really
funny.
trippy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's like, it's I don't know. I think I like it. The story is very good.
Yeah,
and it's like it's old enough to where they're trying to plant an idea in a guy's head.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
That's all it is. Yeah.
They're trying to make a guy dream something.
It's like he's a marketing guy. He's like, you need to buy this.
Yeah, and it's like that's what it is. Like, can you make and it's a powerful fucking movie. There's something about it. It really is. Like it's one of those like. Well, I tell you, like it's. When I made this list, I'm like, what if I rewatched a bunch of times, and it's made me like kind of like, and I don't know. Visually the story. It's like man. Dreams already trip me out.
It's one of those trying to explain the plot.
Do you still dream?
Yeah, I still dream.
Yeah, like in life or like when you're asleep.
I still have dreams when I'm asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, life is gone.
No, the dreams I had in life, that's long gone, yeah. But no, I still have dreams.
You're like, this is it right here. I wanted a podcast.
I'm living my dream, John. Podcast. When I was 10 years old, I was like, one day I'm gonna host a podcast with 25 subscribers.
We're going for 26 this week, guys.
Yes, we're gonna get 26. I feel like this new year we're gonna get at least 2 new subscribers this new year.
Right. I like it. I used to be one of those weirdos, or I told you where I'm still a weirdo, but I would keep I tried lucid.
Your dream journal?
Yeah, lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
And one of the steps was to literally just wake up, write down stuff.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't forget it.
Yeah. And then after 2-3 weeks, I was writing pages. I would wake up in the morning, I would read it, and I'd be like, oh. And it would all kind of come back to you.
Yeah.
Because it is one of those things, right? I think DiCaprio even says it in the movie. It's it's trying to remember a dream later.
It's hard.
After you wake up.
It's hard, yeah.
It's if you don't remember it, you need to remember it right away, write it down, or push it in your head.
It's fleeting. Yeah, it's very fleeting. A dream is very fleeting. You're gonna remember it right then and there.
Yeah.
And even the emotions, you have a scary dream or something that excites you in the dream, it's hard to recreate that. Why was I so scared of that? When you think about it later on. But in the moment you were.
Right.
And you ever try to describe a dream to somebody? You're like, this was the scariest dream I've ever had. And you describe it to them and they just look at you like, okay. But because they didn't experience it. It's it's such a visceral thing, a dream.
Right. Because it's your own fears.
It's your own fears, yeah.
And it was personal to you. But at the end of the day, this is action, sci-fi, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you call it?
Yeah, I mean, it's action sci-fi. It's, it's Nolan doing what he does best. I have my reservations with Nolan. Sometimes his characters don't have the greatest dialogue, but he's a visual. His visual storytelling is one of the best. He's one of the best visual storytellers out there. If he can just do
special effects,
if Christopher Nolan was able to just do a silent film, he'll be one of the greatest directors. Because his dialogue is not always the greatest, but he does too much.
And it won best screenplay.
No, its characters describe the plot too much in their dialogue. But other than that, he's a great visual storyteller. I mean, this is one of the, it's.
I remember, and then the ending, perfect.
Yeah, the ending was perfect. Yeah,
it is perfect. Yeah.
I mean, when you have people talk about it and debate it online for years, it's you did a good job with your ending.
Yeah, very. We'll call it Sopranos-ish ending.
Yeah.
For that movie, and you got stars loaded there. Tom Hardy, you have DiCaprio.
I like how you put Tom Hardy first, like he's the star of the movie.
Yeah, I have a man crush on Tom Hardy. Apparently,
it's funny though.
Yes, I do. It is funny.
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
Who was also in the
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises. He's worked with him a lot.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he was even in Dunkirk.
Yeah.
His face is covered most of the time.
I was going to say, he covers his face a lot.
Yeah, he does like to cover his face a lot. But yeah, I mean, DiCaprio, you have
Page.
Marion Cotillard, Ellen Page, Cillian Murphy, Tom Berenger, Michael Caine, Ken Watanabe, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are going to be confused.
Mm-hmm.
And even I'm like, I think I get it. And I think I do get it. Kind of like Mulholland Drive, where you just just appreciate it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like sometimes you can overanalyze things and they're going to conflict with other things, but
it's just a throwaway. I think if you try to make too much sense, too much logic out of it, it's going to ruin the movie for you. Just don't do it. It doesn't depend on that.
Right.
It's at the end of the day, it's dream logic, right?
Right. And his scores help a lot too.
Hans Zimmer, his go-to.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
composer.
I've caught myself with another movie actually listening to the score too.
Mm-hmm.
One of his other movies, and I'm like, it's everything visually and music. Like you said, no dialogue. You could probably still get through the movie.
Yeah.
That's how good this guy is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think he's established himself as. He's got a movie. What is it? Tenet.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much did it cost? 200
million. Yeah.
225, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I'm like,
and it's probably gonna make $1 billion.
It's just crazy that he's
able to
in
do
the
that.
last decade.
And these are all original. None of these are franchise movies. That's crazy. There's no Inception 2. There's no Interstellar 2.
Right.
There's no Dunkirk 2. You know, he's other than the
No,
Batman.
he's working on Dunkirk too.
Right. Other than the Batman films, he's never done a sequel.
And we have to say Batman put him on the map.
Yeah. Well, in
Because
terms of a big,
in terms of who is this guy?
Yeah. That helped get The Prestige made. That helped get Inception made. That
I forget about those movies too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
not really. I've seen The Prestige 7-8 times.
Yeah.
But
Before that, I mean, you know, he did Memento. He did what was that one where Al Pacino couldn't sleep?
Oh,
Insomnia. Yeah.
Yeah. That was with Robin Williams.
Robert Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Williams kept waking him up. Hey, wake up! I'm trying to sleep here.
It wasn't exactly like that.
That's how I remember it. Like, Robert Williams just kept waking him up. As soon as he's going to take a nap, he just kept waking him up.
It's those murder calls. Just kept waking him up.
But no, he's a great director. I mean,
Could probably, yeah. I mean, he's had a great decade.
yeah, he had a good decade.
He really has.
Yeah.
And it started a little before the 2010 with, like I said, Dark Knight.
And it's crazy. He makes
Not
a
Dark Knight.
film.
Well, Batman Begins.
Pretty much,
First.
he makes a film every 2 years, and these are ambitious films.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said, they're all different.
All different, yeah.
But visually, his style's just fucking cool.
Yeah. So that is your number 7. My number 7 film for the decade, John, is a little film called Happy Death Day, directed by Christopher Landon, who is the son of Michael Landon. Do you remember Michael Landon?
Oh, don't tell me.
He is the star of, there's a little show, I don't know if you ever saw the reruns of Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven. Remember Michael Landon?
I remember Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, he was the father.
Okay.
So this is his son, Christopher Landon. He actually, I don't know if you know, he wrote all the Paranormal Activity sequels.
Really?
Yeah. So, Happy Death Day to You, I think, pretty much was a breath of fresh air to the horror genre when it came out. I put it as the best film of 2017. And I still stand by that. It's
it's a debate whether or not you want to call that horror.
Yeah.
But horror has so many subgenres that I can't say it's not horror.
It's, you know what? It's such a great twist to these slasher films, right?
Yeah.
And it's, you know what? For a while, slasher films weren't like 2010.
It's Groundhog Day with a killer.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it is.
It's a simple, but it worked. It just worked so well.
I liked it.
And you can say it's by doing the Groundhog thing, it's almost like a what's the word? Your commentary on what slasher films are. What are slasher films? Same thing happening over and over, right? It's killer kills another, teenager.
Right.
Next scene, killing another teenager. They're just different. But this took that concept to a whole new level, and it's like, let's just make it the same person every time. That's so groundbreaking. It's such a simple. It's not trying to be pretentious. It's not trying to say, "Oh, we're gonna reinvent the horror." It's just it works on just being a great slasher film.
Right.
Yeah, and it still works. Even now, even watching it, I've probably watched it 5-6 times. It works every time. It's
right. Now it's fun.
Yeah.
I will give you that. It's very fun. I like it. I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it does work. It is Groundhog's Day. Or Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I mean, they even acknowledged it at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I was glad they did.
Yeah.
Because they go, no other movie's really done it basically exactly like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Well, Edge of Tomorrow kind of did.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Die and you wake up, it's the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And damn them for not acknowledging Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do acknowledge it, and I like it. It's fun. Whether or not it falls under horror or comedy, I don't know. Horror comedy, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it is a slasher film. But yeah, definitely like a unique. And they made a sequel, and it wasn't bad.
Yeah, the sequel was good. It wasn't as good as the original, but
it was very different.
Very different. That's what I love about it. Yeah,
I'll
give that. It turned to like a sci-fi.
Yeah, they give it a nice sci-fi twist.
Yeah, but it works. But yeah, there's not much else I can say. Just if you haven't seen Happy Death Day, go watch it. It's an enjoyable film. It's fun.
Yeah, they were very creative with the sequel title, Happy Death Day to You. Yeah. But
So-
yeah, no, I like it. Can't argue with that at all.
So that is my number 7 film of the decade. Moving on, John. What is your number 6?
My number 6. I always get an accent around here. The Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf of Wall Street by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is in my last movie, Inception.
yeah. He plays Jordan Belfort, based on a true story of Jordan Belfort, a man who went to jail for doing a lot of naughty things with money. Best way I
Is
can
that
describe
how the judge said it?
it. Yes. Mr. Belfort, you did a lot of naughty things with money. You need to go to jail
Right.
for 6 months.
Yeah. And this is, I think this was the first time, and we've said this, that Scorsese had a movie that felt like a Scorsese movie.
In a while.
Yeah. Well, before that, it had been a while.
Yeah. Since like Casino.
Yeah, it has to be Casino,
Yeah.
which was, 95, 96? I don't know.
Yeah, 95.
And it's pretty rewatchable. I
Yeah.
think you said you don't like the way it ages.
I have some issues with it, but it's not enough to not still love it. Like I had it when it came out. That was the best film for me of that year. Wolf of Wall
Yeah, I think, I remember we had swapped the 1 and 2 spots
Street. Yeah,
on our best movies that year.
yeah.
I like it a lot.
I mean, I
It's
think
fun.
I think the worst thing you can say about it is maybe it's a little long. But even saying that, it's what can you cut? Like I wouldn't want to cut anything. You know, it's like sometimes like it's a little long, but I couldn't tell you what to cut. It's everything's fun.
Maybe it's because I do like the subject matter a
Yeah,
lot.
Yeah,
And then he is glorifying all the bad shit. I'm saying that he is Scorsese. You don't see any victims.
you know what he did that was so smart about it is I think it got brought up. It was like, hey, you didn't pass judgment on these guys, and he said, oh, who am I to pass judgment on people? And he presented the film the way he presented it, and he showed it like, hey, these guys didn't really. There's no consequence for this guy. He got off pretty easy. He screwed over a bunch of people, and I mean, what he's gonna present that's how it happened, right? He really didn't get punished for these things.
You're right. It's very straightforward,
Yeah.
but it is a lot of fun. He does make all the dirty money, naughty stuff that you say. He makes it look like a lot of
It's
fun.
absurd whether like if it wasn't a true story, you would say there's no way this can happen,
Yeah.
and it did. It's so crazy what these guys were doing.
Yeah. Not the most professional office place.
No.
But it is, I mean, you go back to movies but I like movies like this. I like
Mm-hmm.
movies like even The Boiler Room.
Hmm.
I like, but this is way better.
Oh yeah.
Even
yeah.
Wall Street, going back to Charlie Sheen, I like that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But this is just fun. This makes it fun.
Yeah.
It makes it fun, and and he makes you forget that there are victims in this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he makes you completely forget about that, and you're almost rooting for them.
Yeah.
And they're pieces of shit.
They're all not very good people. You're right.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
almost like the
good people in there.
watching the Succession, the TV show on
Yeah.
HBO. It's
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah. Who do you root for?
you're like, oh, well,
They don't show you the people that you could maybe root for, the victims. You can't. They don't show you one person that you can
Right.
say, hey, that's the person that's the person I can identify with.
yeah, and it is weird because they're ruining people's lives for a living,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you still kind of don't dislike them,
Because they're having so much fun.
right?
Even though you know
And
that
they-
even
and
though you know this is wrong. Like there's yeah.
And Scorsese kind of just sucks you into that world,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Well, in a way he's trying to tell you, look how easy it is to get into this, because it is a lot of fun. Look how much fun it is. It's
Right.
None of us are above these guys. Like it's so easy to get sucked into this type of situation if we're not
Right.
careful.
and there's some great scenes in it too.
Mhm.
It's like, oh man, I love when.
It's one of those films like if it's on, like if you're flipping channels and it's on, like you're like, oh, I gotta watch this now. Like whatever
Yeah.
scene it is, like I gotta watch it till this scene because this is this is Matthew McConaughey. Oh, I gotta watch this scene. He's gonna do his chest beating thing and it's gonna be like
Yeah.
yeah
And it's what's the secret to dialing faster? It's cocaine.
Cocaine. Yeah.
It's like,
A lot of
I
cocaine.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
But
Another great performance of Matthew McConaughey for this decade.
right.
Just
Yeah.
that one, a few scenes that he's in. Yeah, in the beginning.
Right. Yeah, it was around the time he was making Dallas Buyers. I
Yeah, you
think.
can tell he's all skinny. He looks all weird. Yeah.
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 But I love the scene with him and Jonah Hill when they've done the Quaaludes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, and they're, oh, it's ridiculous. It reminds me, and I don't know why, because they're so different,
Mm-hmm.
but the scene in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
or in the kitchen, living room, whatever, when he knows Jonah Hill had fucked up,
Yeah.
it reminds me of going back to, the Scorsese, the scene in Goodfellas when Karen
Had dumped all the cocaine.
dumped all
Yeah.
the cocaine.
Yeah.
And I know it's two guys in this scene, but there's something about it where it just brought me back to that.
Yeah, like the over, like
Like
they're
just,
fucked.
yeah, like holy shit.
What did you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you realize what you just did?
Exactly.
Yeah. And he's so desperate, and he
it's just like-
is in the spots that this guy is not gonna
just
get
like
out of.
seeing these characters at their lowest
They're pathetic.
point.
They're pathetic. Yeah. He's putting them in their most pathetic.
Yeah. And they're very different scenes, but I get the same vibe from both. And
Yeah.
that's when I was like, oh yeah, this is like a real Scorsese movie, like we said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's fun though. I don't know. It's a comedy, I guess. Comedy, drama. You want to? Yeah. I mean, it's DiCaprio's great. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think he probably could have easily won for that.
Yeah. Except for the bear movie.
Yeah. One where he was with
The bear.
a bear.
Yeah. So Wolf of Wall Street, you're number 6, John. Great choice. I love the Wolf of Wall Street. My number 6 film of the decade, John, is a movie called Sorry to Bother You by Boots Riley. In fact, it was his directorial debut, and it's his only film he's done so far. As of today, it stars Lakeith Stanfield, Tessa Thompson, a bunch of other people, and it is and Armie Hammer, one of my favorite actors of the decade. It's a absurd dark comedy, really. It's a satire. It's whatever you want to call it. It's fucking great. It's much like Wolf of Wall Street. It is crazy. Like I guess you can characterize this. That's a comedy too, right? It's about a guy who makes a living pretending to be a white guy, and he's black on the phone, and he's able to do more sales.
It's safe to say this was satirical, right?
Yeah, and it's some of the movies. It's hard to you can explain the plot to somebody, and it probably wouldn't make them want to watch it.
Right.
But after you watch, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck was that?
Right.
And that's how I felt after watching this. It's like, what the hell was that? But yeah, there's not much else I can say.
I liked it. I saw it twice in the theaters, I think.
Mhm.
It's good. It's satire, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it is hard to explain. It's about, at the end of the day, it's a comedy about racism.
In a way, yeah.
Kind of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is really what he does. Is he starts talking like a white guy, and he just becomes successful.
Yeah. And it's a movie that walks such a thin fine line. It could veer into just being too ridiculous, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it walks a line.
It does get pretty absurd.
It can
In a good way, though.
in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah. Armie Hammer, even though he's not doesn't have the biggest role in it, he's very
He's
good.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great in it. But yeah, it's something. It's a movie that could have gone wrong in so many parts.
Right.
Every scene that you're seeing, you're like, okay, when is the movie gonna go off the rails and just explode? Because it could take a ridiculous turn. It never does. It's as absurd as it is, and never goes off the rails. I mean, and you know what? Give credit to Boots Riley. He had a vision, and he wrote and directed it, and he knew exactly what he wanted, and he had a clear vision. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Right.
He knew exactly what he wanted to comment on, and he did a great job. For this to be his first film, it's crazy.
It is one of the few rare movies about racism, because
Mhm.
is about racism.
It is, but it isn't preachy
No,
at
I'm
all.
saying no. That doesn't take itself too
Too seriously, yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
And it was fucking funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
I mean, it is hard to explain without just. Yeah, that's what the movie's about. So it's called "Sorry to Bother You" because it's like
Mhm.
they're cold calling people,
yeah.
or they're in a call center.
And in reality, I think the whole race thing is there, but you can also argue it's also a movie about capitalism and how capitalism works. And it doesn't matter whether you're black or white. Sometimes it's all about how much money you're making, right? Because at the end of the day, he is a black guy. I mean, yeah, he has to pretend to be a white guy to make money, but at the end of the day, he's a black guy who becomes rich, and after that, what does it matter? You know, people really don't care what color you are. They care how much money you have. At the end of the day.
Right.
So
Yeah. No. It's good. It's different. It kind of the only movie that I would even say comes close to doing what they did was I don't know if you've seen it yet. It was Blind Spotting.
mm-hmm.
It's another movie that it's like that one's clearly about racism.
yeah.
But again, it doesn't take itself too
Seriously.
seriously. In fact, you could probably categorize it as a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
In a way. So,
Right.
But yeah, I know. No arguments there. Liked it
All right.
a lot.
So John, that was our first half of our top 10 list. We're gonna take a quick break. That was the end of part 1. This is a 2-part podcast because we want to be able to give ourselves enough time. So this is the end of part 1. To hear part 2, click on the link that says part 2 to hear our top 5 films of the decade. See you in a few minutes. Bye-bye.